Hello and welcome. I'm Mecca Jones, Olivia Garden Educator, based right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where I am a salon co-owner as well as an operator behind the chair. Thanks so much for joining in, guys. You could be doing anything else, yet you decided to invest in your education and be here. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to present to you and to share with you some of the nuggets that I have and that I've learned behind the chair throughout my career. Today, I will be sharing some really great techniques, tips, and tools that I love to use when it comes to drying, blending, shaping, and styling curlier textured hair. I'll be using some of my favorite Olivia Garden tools to show you guys what I love to do behind the chair with them. There will be a giveaway, so I suggest you guys engage with me. I want you to ask me questions. I want you to drop your comments below. Olivia Garden will be giving away a set of our new ThermoVent brown brushes, and it comes with 4 sizes. We have our 1 3/4 inch. We have our 2 inch, our 2.5 inch, and our 3 inch ThermoVent brushes. So these babies are amazing, and I will tell you exactly why as we continue to learn. Also, Olivia Garden will be giving away our new PerfectBlend thinning shears that I'll be also showcasing today. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, comment below, ask your questions. I have someone here that'll be relaying your questions to me. So pick my brain while you have me, okay? So let's dive right in. Before we even get into drying textured or curly hair, we have to know that we begin before the actual service. We begin at the shampoo bowl when it comes to styling, cutting, smoothing, drying, whatever you're doing with texture hair, you have to know that there's a process, and that process starts at the shampoo bowl. If you go wrong at the foundation, which is at the shampoo bowl, your whole situation, your whole service can be jacked up. So we want to make sure that we're beginning right, we're prepping this hair right. So at the shampoo bowl, what are we doing? For curlier textured hair, it can be a lot more fragile than straighter or wavy hair. And that's because of its slightly raised cuticle. So when that cuticle is raised like that and you go in to rough up the cuticle, you're creating unnecessary damage to the hair, frizz to the hair, and tangles to the hair. So that's what we don't want to do. You ever get in a situation where you're dealing with curly hair and that hair gets really tangled up on you and you're like, well, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Well, normally it's at your foundation, at the shampoo bowl. So whatever you're doing to curly hair or textured hair, you want to make sure that you're always working in a downward motion. So we're always going to be working this way along with parallel to the cuticle of the hair and not pushing it back up and opening it further to create tangles and unnecessary frizz to the hair. So when we're shampooing downward. Yes, we can get into the scalp area and we can make sure that it's cleansed properly and all of those great things. But what you don't want to do is all of this and then pulling the ends of the hair up to the scalp of the hair. I mean, we can really go deep when we're shampooing textured hair to make sure that it's cleansed. But there's still a proper way to do it without creating all the unnecessary things that can come along with it. All right, so after your shampoo and your conditioner is done, our conditioner as well, always in a downward motion. When you go to detangle the hair, make sure you're using tools that's going to detangle the hair in a downward motion. So just make sure that we're not combing it up and away from where the cuticle is actually living. All right, so here I have my model. And as I work through my model here, what we're going to do today is I'm going to demo these beautiful ThermoVent brushes. And it's great because they were actually designed for textured hair, for curly hair textures. And one of the great things about it is it gives you all the tools that you need to kind of work with it. So you have this parter on it. For me, I can use my nails. I mean, but everyone doesn't have nails as long and as pointy as mine. So I love this little tool that's here on the end of it, where you just take it out, pop it back in, and now it turns into a parting tool. And this comes with all of Olivia Garden's brushes. So I always thought that was a really cool thing. But listen, these ThermoVent brushes is a game changer. It has a unique bristle design. Now let me grab one of the larger ones. It has a unique bristle design with alternating rows of natural boar and ionic bristles. So I'm gonna hold my hand back here so you can actually see those two different rows. I think we can get there now. So, oh, there we go. There we go. So you can see those two different rows, the ionic bristles and also the natural boar. So they're going to be alternating along this brush. That's going to provide the perfect tension when you go to dry and shape curlier texture hair. So for those sleeker designs, those smoother designs, these are great. And it also contains a 1-barrel ventilation system here. So as you can see right through this baby, right? And the purpose of it is so that the air can flow right through it. In turn, it's going to reduce your drying time, and it's going to, most importantly, not create the damage that a lot of brushes can create because it doesn't have anywhere for the hair to flow through. So I thought that was really cool. This is very well designed. I've been using it. I've been using it since the testing of it, and I can't keep my hands off of it. So this was a really great, innovative idea. So we're going to go ahead and demo this today. I have wet my mannequin down for you. I shampooed and conditioned her. Just make sure that she's good. She dried a little bit as she was sitting here.
Hey, Mecca.
Yes.
Hey, it's Heather for BTC.
Hey.
We have a question from Facebook from Jessica. She wants to know,
Sure.
do you dry forward and backwards to get a good natural fall of the hair?
When I get to the top, yes, I especially do that. Towards the back, yes, you can do that as well. That's one of the things that I really like to do when I'm working with a paddle brush. With my round brush, of course, you can do the same thing. I love to do that. And actually, it won't set the hair right there where you stick it. So it's really great to kind of alternate that back and forth. So I like to go down, left, right, and then down again. I think that's really great. I'll do a little bit of that today to show you guys what Jessica is referring to. But thanks for that question, Jessica. That's a really, really good one. But in the top, I definitely want to do that because you want your client to have free reign of how she wears her hair in the top. And if you only brush it one way, the client is kind of stuck. So you don't want your client to be stuck. So when you dry with the dryer and the brush in different directions, you won't have that issue of the parting or the hair falling just one way.
Great, thank you. And then Marsha is asking, everybody's loving the design of these brushes. They're obsessed. She just wants to know, is the handle rubber?
It is some type of rubber. I might have my OG developers on here with me. They may drop the official answer in here, but it is a very soft material. So I think it is a form of rubber, but it doesn't feel like, straight rubber.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're getting a lot of love on your makeup, your hair, and your whole outfit.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Way to encourage a girl. So where's everyone from? You can just drop them in the comments and then I can go back and see them later. And who has used our Olivia Garden brushes already? Who already purchased their set? That'll be good to know. And have you used it? How do you feel about it? How much do you love it? Because I know you have to love it. So right now I'm just going through and I'm parting my mannequin straight through the center of the crown hair from ear to ear. And I'm going to leave that hair forward. And I like the part right here through the center of the crown so that when I get to the top, if I part this hair too much forward, the hair the hair isn't going to fall back over this way as much as I would want it to. You're going to almost see the part there, and you're going to have hair, 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 and then a whole nother section here. So we want to make sure this is all blended when it's all said and done. So that's why I like to part straight through the center of the crown. That way when I get to the top, I can also put a little bit of that hair back here. So I'm going to clip her off. And of course, I'm using my Olivia Garden clips. These are our double clips. They come in 2 sizes. This is the small and this is the large. Now, let me tell you why these things are so great. These babies are great because, and you know what? I'll wait until I begin drying to really show you, because then you'll understand. All right, so now the general rule of thumb.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. I just had a question.
Sure.
Ready? Okay. So we have a question about how the brushes work with 4B or 4C silk press. Do they provide enough tension specifically around the root?
They do provide enough tension. What I will say for those hair textures, for those hair types, is that you want to use smaller sections. Whereas hair that's looser curl, you can use thicker sections. For those types of hair, you definitely want to use smaller sections. I've used these on my daughters who have the 4C hair type, and I found that I couldn't do as large of sections with my ThermoVent, but the smaller sections was great. Yes, the tension is there because of those alternating bristles. I didn't have an issue at all. So if it can deal with my daughter's hair, we got a winner here. All right, so the general rule of thumb is the same diameter that your brush is here. So from here to here, straight across, is the amount of hair you'll want to take out here or less. So the or less would definitely be the tighter the curl pattern is. So I'll start about there. And now you can see right here, the length of hair going vertical. And if I put this brush right up next to it, you can kind of see how it's very similar in width. So I'll break that off, clip it away. Now, let's just say, for fun, that, well, not even for fun, I do it a lot in the salon. So let's just say I took my brush and I did my measurement there, but this was a little too much hair out. I can take some of this hair, and because this is a double clip, I can take some of this hair and put it in the next section. So I already have hair in this first section, but not to disturb the hair that I just put up there. I can just slip that up there and keep it out the way. So that's the beauty of these double clips. So this is great when you go to round brush the hair, when you go to style the hair, you're flat ironing the hair, anything you're doing to the hair, you're keeping the hair out the way, and you don't want to have to take that extra time to take the whole clip out and resection your section and clip it off again. You can have 2 different holders for that hair. So really cool, right? And again, that comes in 2 different sizes, our small and large. And I just know Olivia Garden is working on something for some more clips to come out. All right, so today I'm going to be using my Olivia Garden ceramic and ion blow dryer. I do use a concentrator when I am blow drying all hair, in all honesty, only because you can get a better concentration on the hair that you are drying, opposed to the airflow just going everywhere. So kind of wasting air when you're not using the concentrator, and you could be drying the hair a lot faster by concentrating that heat or the airflow to where you actually need to dry. Any questions before I turn this dryer on?
Yes, just really quick. They want to know what size barrel you're using.
Oh, good. This is my 2-inch barrel. Yep, 2-inch barrel.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I skipped the whole step. I got so excited, guys. Now, could I have just started drying her hair that way? Of course, I could. But when you're dealing with curly hair or textured hair, especially the thicker it is, you want something that's going to hold it down a little bit to kind of reduce any frizz and keep it tamed, opposed to when you're drying it, it's kind of all over the place. So I do like to use a foam, a whip, a hair whip for my drying, something that's light enough. It's a 7 out of a 10 hold. Put about that much on. You can kind of use any hair foam. Of course, I use Joico hair foam. And this is called Joy Whip. And that's all you need to kind of put on the hair. You want to make sure you're getting to the root area. The root area is the area that you want to be more tamed and more laid. So that is definitely going to aid in that with the little bit of hold that it has in it. So again, I'm going to take my brush, take my little parting tool, and I'll go back across. Alrighty.
And then we have a question. What is the heat setting on the dryer?
So I do have it all the way up. So I have it at its second level of heat. And then I am going to turn it up to my second level on my airflow. So as I begin, the very first thing that you always want to do when you are dealing with curly hair is start at the root area. You don't want to automatically go in and take this brush and begin to just go for it. No. You want to take your time. Your dryer should be up here. As the cuticle lays this way in a downward motion like that, that's the structure of the hair's cuticle. That's the same direction that you want your airflow to be. So you don't want your airflow to be here when your cuticle is laid this way. What is that going to do? That's just going to open up that cuticle further, creating further damage and also creating unnecessary frizz. So we're always going to go down with the cuticle. So my dryer is here, and I'm going down. Now notice I'm not pointing this dryer into my client's scalp because that's going to create uncomfortability for my client, and also it can cause heat abrasions. So always in a downward motion. And I'm concerned about the root area first before anything. All right, so now that I have smoothed my root area, I can now work on my mid shaft to ends. So now I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to take small sections, just like that. And I'm going to put my ThermoVent brush right underneath. And you can see I'm pulling. And this is the amount of tension that I'm getting. So that's a good amount of tension with those alternating bristles so that this brush is not sliding out of the hair. It's also enough tension to smooth the hair the way that we would want to smooth a curlier textured hair. So then I can work my way down. And you'll notice before I get to the bottom of the hair here, I'm actually turning my brush. So I don't want this brush to feed all the way through to the ends and let go. I want it to catch it again. So that's why I'm turning as I'm going. So this is going to create the shape in the hair. It's also going to dry the hair efficiently. And now once I get to the very end, then I can start going down a little bit further in my middle section here. I'm going to take my brush, get all the way in there. It's okay if you pick up the sections that are next to the section that you're working on. Totally cool. Sometimes you want to take that brush out and reposition it. That's okay as well. You don't have to be perfect with it, but just to save yourself some time, you don't have to go through and come down the whole way and then have to put your brush back in. So you can keep that turn going so that you don't have to disconnect your brush from your hair. What you'll also notice that I'm doing right now, as I'm holding my dryer here, I'm not holding the dryer or the concentrator right on the hair. What is that going to do to the hair? That's going to create damage to the hair because it's just too much heat. So I'm holding my dryer up here. It's going to get the same amount of air and heat. You don't have to worry about it. I think a lot of times we get so concerned that the hair is not going to get straight enough or dry enough if the dryer isn't burning the hair directly. And that's just not true. You're going to get the same amount of heat, but you're going to create and keep healthy hair at the same time. So make sure we're not damaging hair out here, guys. This is the proper way without creating that damage. And I'm going to let go. Now my last section, I'm going to get that brush in there. Look at that tension, guys. Amazing. Tip it up a little bit so I can get right back to my root area. It's okay to still work on your root area after you've gotten to your mid shaft and ends. If you see that the root area is still a little damp underneath, you can totally continue from root all the way to the ends. And also, guys, I'm following my hair. I'm following my brush with my dryer. So I'm not keeping my dryer in just one place and doing this. No, I'm following it so that the airflow can go through and hit that hair and create less drying time for you. So I'm following it all the way down until I'm finished. And there we have our first section.
Looking
Beautiful.
good. We have a question.
Sure.
Why did you choose the brush you're using? Did you decide based on the hair texture, whether it's coarse or fine, the thickness, or what?
Yes, absolutely. This new ThermoVent brush is specifically designed for texture or curly textures of hair. Just again, because of those alternating bristles of the ionic bristles and the natural bore, those two things in combination are able to give you the tension that's needed in order to straighten out curlier and textured hair. Any other questions, Heather?
We had a lot fly in there. Let me see if I can up. Do you use cold in between, or is it all heat?
I use all heat, especially when I'm dealing with textured hair. What you can do sometimes is when you get to the mid shaft and ends is lower your heat, so you'll lower the airflow. Whereas on the root area, I'm using a high setting because that's normally the area that needs the most straightening because of the tightness of it. Whereas the mid shaft and ends typically is older hair. It's been processed by mechanic heat more, and it's been living longer. So you may not need as much airflow, so you can turn it down, but it's always going to be heat for me.
Great. And then do you change the barrel size of the brush that you're using as you go around the head, or do you keep that same size?
Absolutely, you can, but it's going to depend on the length. So here she has a pretty even length all the way around with the exception of her fringe area. Once I get to her fringe area, I will swap out to a larger barrel size, but it's going to be according to the length of the hair. So with this length hair, the 2 inches is great for me. If this hair was longer, of course, I'm going to go to my 3-inch barrel. So it's really going to depend on that length there. So I'm going into my next section, guys. Again, I'm smoothing my new growth area. Now, what Jessica was speaking of earlier, one of our beautiful stylists out there, what she was speaking of earlier when she asked if I would go different directions when I am smoothing this hair. This would apply for when you are doing the new growth area. So this is your opportunity, and it's totally up to you. The option is yours if you would want to continue to go in a downward motion here, or if you want to start going from left to right and alternating downward. So I would go here, and then I would actually take this to go here. I would go back down again, and then I would go right with it. Then back down again, and that's how you would be alternating, smoothing the root area out. But again, that option is up to you. If you want a more organic flow of the hair, that's typically when that technique is used. So again, the option is yours as long as you're going in some type of downward motion, working with the structure of the cuticle, you're fine. All right, so now I'm ready to go in for my mid-shaft and ends. So I'm going to pick up all the hair that's there, create that tension there. I want to make sure I'm getting as close to the scalp as possible. And then I'm going to start going. The mannequin can almost be as wobbly as my client sometimes, who's falling asleep in the chair. As I go in, this stand can be so wobbly, but you guys get the point. But it also shows you how much tension this brush is giving the hair. Our last section here, and then I want to show you guys our PerfectBlend shears. How awesome is that?
Looking good.
Yes.
Our viewers would love to know some of the blowout products that you recommend for heat protection and smoothness.
Heat protection and smoothness. I actually do have a couple of products that I can show you guys. One of my favorite products is my Dream Blowout. It's a thermal protection cream, and it also reduces drying time. And then I have a glossing oil that I love to use as well.
And did you use any of those before you blew her out today?
No, I did not use those today before I blowed her out today. I just used the Power Whip that I showed you guys.
Cool.
And they're all by Joico. And this, of course, is going to just give you that hold that you would want to use, but you can definitely do a cocktail and use it along with your thermal protection and put it all in together. I love using cocktails to do my curly girls. All right, so I'm going to put her aside for a moment. And what I'd like to show you guys is our beautiful Olivia Garden PerfectBlend shears. So there we go. So you can see those serrated teeth in there. It comes with a convex blade here at the top and then the 25 serrated teeth down here. These babies are amazing, and you can feel like the smoothness of it as you go through and use them. Okay, so this is going to create a seamless blend and a really soft texture when you are cutting. So that's what sets these apart. Some thinning shears you can kind of see exactly where you thinned it out at, where you cut it, and you kind of see those lines in there. This is not going to do that because of how these are designed with those serrated teeth and the spacing between them. You will not be able to see where these cuts are. So how much you want cut is totally going to be up to you guys. But you can see our lady here, she has a nice, shape here. She has a nice cut here. But you can see it's a little blunt. So we want to kind of take away some of those hard lines that you can see all throughout here. I'm going to go in pretty good with her just to make sure we're blending those all out. And I'm going to start right down here in the nape area.
And can you just recap really quickly how many different sizes of those brushes there were?
Sure. There's 4 different sizes of the brushes. We have a 1 3/4 inch, a 2 inch, a 2.5 inch, and a 3 inch size.
Great. And then Denise wants to know, would you consider this mannequin medium or coarse in texture?
Definitely medium. Definitely medium. You can see how she has more of a ringlet opposed to a coil. A coil is what I would consider a thicker texture, of course. All right, so here I'm going in with my thinning shears, and it's really up to you and your style of wanting to thin the hair out. But for me, I can see the lines, and so I'm going to address where I see the lines. So it's going to be a very organic type of thinning for me. I'm not going to go in and say, oh, I have to cut here, here, and here. It's going to be individually based according to what the layers are already doing. So what I like to do is I'll go in towards the bottom first, and then I'll work my way up. A lot of times, stylists, which is totally fine, start up top and then work their way down, and then they take a comb and comb all of the pieces out. Well, I like going the opposite direction only because once you get to the top, this can pull it out itself. Okay. So I'm going to go here, here, and here. And then I can pull it all out at the same time. And already, just with that one little swipe, you can see the difference between this piece and this piece over here, how this is really blunt and how this side is a lot more blended. And you can also not see exactly nowhere that I cut. So this cut is very seamless when it comes to that. Now, can I go in again? Of course. Or can I just work towards the area that I want to cut? Of course. So I'll just work right down there. And I don't know if you guys can really see this, but I'll take her off. But can you see the difference there between that side, which is choppy, and then that side, which is seamless? Amazing. So again, I'm only going to address the areas that I really want. To thin out. And I like to keep it a little bit lighter down near the nape area so that this hair can fall really nicely over it without this bulging out on me. So again, you can see that hard line, correct? Look at that. Like she has a bowl cut. So I'm going to go ahead and thin that area out. Do a little bit more down there. Pull it out. So you really do have to visibly watch what's happening as you go through and make these lines disappear. So here, I can even go vertically because I see this piece is really thick over there. I'm going to go through and smooth that out some. And you can kind of see that coming to life, and you can see that movement just coming back to that hair. So you don't see any choppy lines anymore. It's just really smooth.
And would you suggest this same technique with all hair types as far as thinning and softening goes?
Again, it's individually based. So I would assess every head for itself and see what it needs. And I would make it organic. So wherever that thinning needs to happen, that's where you will do the thinning at. And in some parts of the hair, I may not need to do as much thinning. So I may, only come here and thin it out. I may not go all the way up the hair shaft. So even in one head, you may be using different textures. Wow, that looks amazing. So much better than when we started. And that just blends it right in, hence the name PerfectBlend thinning shears. Wow. So let's compare it to this side here. Ooh, wee. Y'all see that? I know you see it compared to our perfectly blended side. How amazing is that, guys? All right, so who's going to win the giveaway and who's going to be purchasing our PerfectBlend shears? I think we're almost out of time, correct, Heather?
Yep, we're getting there, but any last thoughts or things you want to show us? We are ready for you.
Oh, awesome. I did want to just put in a plug for our new Olivia Garden Titanium and Ion Flat Irons. So after you go through and you dry the hair with your round brush, the beauty about drying it that way, you see I didn't have to go through and really style this with a flat iron afterwards because it kind of gave itself its shape and its style with the PerfectBlend shears and also the ThermoVent round brush. But if you have any areas that just may need to be touched up a little bit, you can definitely do that just to get that additional smoothing. I might want to turn it on first. All right, so I'll just set it at 385. let's go even lower. I'm sorry, 350. And these go up to 455. Just FYI. So they're really great on curly and textured hair. I use these babies all the time. We have our titanium and iron, and we also have our ceramic and iron. So I love these titanium plates. So I can just go through and really just touch up any areas that I want to touch up to kind of further blend it. But there you have a whole style once you get to the front, just by your ThermoVent brush and thinning it out some and then just touching it up a little bit. And it took that amount of time, like nothing. So any last questions for me, guys, feel free to ask. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram at MJColorsMe, and I will be happy to answer any additional questions, and I'll be here. That's all. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Yes, guys, like Mecca said, you can go back and rewatch this if you missed anything at the beginning. It will live on our Facebook page. And Mecca will be going back and reviewing some of your chats and your questions so she can get back to you. And like she said, her Instagram handle is here in the bottom left if you want to go find her. But I think that's it for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later. Bye.